So I'm going to begin by asking, why Dory and why now?
Well, let's see. I was writing Side Saddle on the way to the studio when somebody asked me to watch the film because it was being released in 3D on 2011. 2011, 5 years ago. I had no intention of making a sequel. Had to watch the film because they were going to release it in 3D. And as I'm watching it, I sort of seeing it like an audience member. And I walk out so worried about Dory. I'm like, she's completely not finished. She needs closure. She could forget Marlin and Nemo. She doesn't know where her family is, and she still thinks she apologizes for her short-term memory loss. I mean, it was just all this stuff, these ingredients that you would give a main character, and just completely left like that at the end of the first film. So I was like, she needs a movie.
And I was reading on Facebook. Well, I saw that on Facebook. She's officially the most liked character.
Yeah.
In the Pixar. I mean, does that surprise you? Because obviously, you've been involved, in Finding Nemo as well. I mean, there is a wealth of incredible Pixar characters. Does it surprise you that she is the kind of one that everyone's taken to the most?
I think there's something about Dory that I think people kind of aspire to in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, she lives in the moment. She's kind of optimistic. She has kind of this total lack of guile.
She's like in terms Buddhist fish. She's just in the moment.
So, and I think so much of the way she approaches life and what she says and how she deals with things is like those everything kind of belongs on a T-shirt, at some level. I mean, and so it's kind of a motto. I think she kind of embodies this way of approaching life, and that's why it was so interesting, kind of to go into the more tragic kind of side of her character, because I think a lot of people just kind of stopped at the kind of how they remembered her as being this kind of optimistic, in the moment fish.
So just out of interest, who's your favourite Pixar character of all time?
Oh, wow.
I'm going to cheat, and I'm going to say Woody because he was the first character I ever had to write for. So it's just you always remember your first. But I'm cheating.
That's not cheating. That's fair. I like Wally.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's kind of cheating too, but I do like Wally.
I think he might be my favourite as well. I mean, this film is completely representative of kind of Pixar, to be kind of moving and heartfelt and yet kind of enchanting and funny and appeal to parents and children alike. I mean, is that something that's so ingrained in the kind of fabric of the studio that it almost comes naturally with every passing project, or do you still have to strive to achieve that?
No, it's more personal than that. It's like the way I've put it before is like it's finding other musicians who just naturally have pop tastes. It's not even a studio thing. It's John's taste. John is sort of, it trickles down, and he found other people that, like me and Pete and Lee, and now a lot of other people that just have similar popular tastes. Like we just kind of have this all ages kind of feel good instincts that we like. Those are the kind of songs we like to write.
I do feel like this is a film, though, that tonally sits well with Nemo, and I think that's and I think, each of our films hopefully feels different, and each of our directors kind of, their style or their approach to film or story is a little bit different from the other. But I think this one, it was like we were saying when we were working on it, that it felt a little old school in a great way, and I think that was because it felt like it was tonally kind of in sync with what Nemo was, which was, 13 years ago. So it wasn't intentional by any means, but I feel like it was a goal to have it feel like it wasn't a totally different kind of film with a different tone or pace or anything. I think we needed it to feel like it belonged there.
Yeah, which means there's some dark, hard stuff in there.
And you mentioned the 3D release of Finding Nemo, and I actually interviewed Alexander Gould for that.
Oh, did you?
On the phone, and it was one of those really odd moments where I started speaking to him and just realised that, he doesn't actually sound like Nemo anymore. I mean, how did you find that, how sort of navigating your way around that kind of issue, or was it even an issue to find a kid that had a very similar voice to...
We thought it would be an issue, but they found like 12 kids right away that sounded like him.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing.
It was kind of sad. He was that replaceable.
Yeah, but it was kind of amazing. Like they had these great kids, and I think because, the parks and Disney had needed, various kind of sound bites over the years of Nemo, and so they were like, oh yeah, we can go to our, and they had they sent us a bunch of kids, and then Hayden kind of just had a sweetness to him that, you know, I think was, but also just he was a little bit older than Alexander was when he started, and I think we needed that. We needed to have it be like just a little bit older. You know?
It was 1 year later, but he had basically, to me, grown up at least almost 10 years in experience.
Right.
Like he was just a little bit more mature attitude-wise as a kid.
And but Sigourney Weaver plays an integral role in this movie, of course.
Yes, don't give it away.
No.
But I mean, how did she come to be involved, and why her?
It was an inside joke.
Yeah, it was one of those. We do these, you know, on every one of our screenings internally. We always have one or two things that just make us laugh that we think is never. We always kind of put in knowing it's never going to make it past the screening. And Sigourney's as Sigourney Weaver as a character was one of those things.
Yeah.
And then it just kept getting funnier, and we kept going, like, they're going to make us cut this because it's so weird.
And it kept working.
And then we kept doing more of it, and then it kept getting funnier.
The hard part was, like, will she say yes? But even though she's friends of ours and for working with us on Wall-E, I didn't want to call and make that call until I knew for sure this was going to stay in the picture. So I waited till the bitter end, probably like last fall, to call her to do it.
Part of it's her name, and part of it's the fact that her voice, and she kind of, she actually does a lot of voiceover work, you know, for nature documentaries and stuff in the States. So it kind of worked out
She's
a couple
like
different levels.
David Attenborough.
Yeah.
I mean, Andrew, also just finally, you're writing, obviously, Toy Story 4 at the moment, and in the process of...
I helped kick it off. I helped write sort of the treatment for it, but that's about it.
I was just wondering what sort of kind of fans can expect from this film. I mean, is there kind of a skeleton narrative in place, or is that all still very much under wraps anyway?
Well, there's always a skeleton narrative, but if Finding Dory is any testament, like what you start with is not what you end with. So we're very much in the middle of working on it. So I think even if we were to tell you everything right now, it would all change tomorrow. So it's very much in progress.
Well, thanks so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey!